Hey, welcome back everybody. On today's video, we're going to do setup blocks part 2. We did the first one a while ago, and we've had a lot of people want to know about the second setup block video. So here we go. We're going to talk to you about setup blocks. And in this video, we're going to talk about why you adjust them and the effect it has on the car and stuff like that.
Hi, I'm Billy Dietrich, sprint car mechanic and driver. I've been around racing my whole life and it's pretty much all I know. We created this channel to share the good and the bad and everything in between. Our crew may not be the most experienced or professional, but we get it done and we have a good time doing it. We'll show you what it's really like racing weekly at some of the best tracks in central Pennsylvania. I'm also going to share some sprint car tutorials, mechanics, and parts, and whatever else I feel like. So like, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications. And enjoy the ride. Yeah, boy!
Alright, so what we're going to discuss today is why we adjust the block, what conditions, and maybe like what for setup stuff you need to do in the shop that might lead you to adjusting the height of the block. So just to recap just a little bit, we got our moose blocks here. In the previous video we talked about raised rail cars, non-raised rail cars, a 4-inch block on the right rear and a 3-inch block on the left rear for a raised rail car, and so on and so forth. So today I get a lot of questions about what should I do with the block? Why should I change the height? A lot of comments in the other video as to what track conditions and should I do this or do that for. So I'm going to start with your basic setup, which we talked about before. Like I said, your 4 in the back and like a 3.5 or a 3 3/4 in the front, and why you would change from that. What variation would why you would vary from that. First thing I'm going to talk about is a wet track. And if you have a wet track and you want to make some changes, what would you do? Well, typically what we would do is we would lower the blocks, lower the front of the car. So to do that, you're going to actually make the block taller, which is going to lower the car. And the reason for doing that is, to get the car off the rear wheels. The track's heavy, got a lot of bite, you got to get the front end down. Otherwise, it's going to want to pick the front end up, do wheelies, bob the front end, so on and so forth. Now, if you got a 410 versus a 360 versus a 358 or a 305, then block heights are going to vary, but the principle is going to be the same. The heavier the track, you're going to want to lower the front end, and if the track gets dry, you want to raise the front end. When the track's wet, you're going to want to unhook the car. So whether it be a short track or a big track, it's the same theory behind it. You want to lower the nose. And sometimes we'll want to lower the whole car. Now you can do that with changing the block heights. Like I said, you can make the block 1/4 inch, or some of these blocks even go in 1/8 of an inch increments. These moose blocks go 1/8 inch also, so you can technically go 1/8 of an inch at a time. So if we're on a wet, heavy track, sometimes we'll lower the whole car just to get the center of gravity down. Let the car rotate the turn better, not be on the right rear. It just unhooks the car. You basically lower the center of gravity, and it should go faster down straightaway too, less air under the car. All right, so we talked about if the track was wet and lowering the blocks. Now we're going to talk about if the track's dry. So on the same theory, if the track starts drying out, maybe you got your car racing it right off the block. That means no turns anywhere. Typically, you'll want to raise the nose of the car. So you can either do it with changing the blocks, or you can do it actually putting a little weight in the torsion stop. Either side. Some guys will go with left front weight, some guys right front weight, some guys will do it evenly. So there's a couple different theories there. I'm not saying one's better than the other. A lot of times depending on how much of an adjustment we want to make, we'll just do it with the stop bolts. We'll leave the car all right on the blocks, and we'll adjust from there when we're tightening the car up. The same goes for the back of the car when the track's dry. This gets a little more I won't say tricky, but you kind of got to know where your boundaries are. The same goes for the front of the car too. You can get the car too high, and then you're going to be either too tight or it could actually be too loose. But if the track's dry and you want to get some side bite, which inherently will typically give you more forward drive, you might want to raise the back of the car. You might want to, here again, shorten the block, which will raise the back of the car. Or you can just go to the corners and just put a little weight in there and raise the car up. What that does is raise the center of gravity, makes the car react a little quicker, makes it, in a sense, top heavy. Works the W link a little more because it's going to put a little more angle on that W link when you raise the car for a dry track. Now let's talk about the difference between cars, as in 410s, 360s, 358s, 305s, wingless. I don't have a whole lot of knowledge about wingless stuff, so I'm kind of like not really going to talk much about that because my wingless experience is slim to none here in Pennsylvania. There really isn't any wingless racing here. But it's gaining a little momentum with the 360. So setup blocks for the 410. A lot of times you go off the setup sheet, it's going to say 4 in the back, and a lot of times 4-inch blocks in the front. Here again with your raised rail, you're going to deduct that 1 inch from the left side. The reason you would change that would be, when you go to a heavier motor. So you got your 410 in there, you got a light motor, you're going faster, the front end there's a lot more action in that front end, so you need to keep it lower to control it. Now, when you move from a 410 to a 360, you might have to adjust that front block a little bit. So the motor's heavier, you got a steel block, it's going to weigh more. So if you want to try and maintain the same ride height, you're probably going to have to adjust that block height. You're going to maybe have to go from a 4-inch to a 3 3/4, or like I said, you can go 1/8 of an inch at a time, 3 7/8, and then measure rod height from there, and so on, right on down the line. If you go to 358, same theory behind that. They got a steel block, steel heads. They're even heavier in the front end, so you might have to go to a 3.5, and same with a 305. You're just going to have to kind of trial and error that, but from my experience, you're going to definitely have to go from lowering the nose on a 410 because the light motor to picking it up on the blocks because the heavier motor is going to automatically want to weigh it down. So you got to make that adjustment on the setup block. All right, so the last thing I want to talk about in this video is ride heights. I know I mentioned it a little bit in the last part there about the different heavy, the weights of the motors and the heaviness. But we run across this a lot too. We have guys come in here that are, weigh 125 pounds soaking wet. We got guys coming in there that weigh 275 pounds. So what do you do with your setup block? What do you do with your ride heights? Well, typically, if you're a heavier driver, you may have to, in the back of the car, you may have to shorten that block to get your ride heights up. If you're going to go off the recommended setup sheet, in which you're going to give you your measurements, but you're going to vary a little bit from chassis to chassis, from a Maximum to a J&J or an Eagle or a Triple X. If you go off that setup sheet, and then you measure the car, you might find once the driver gets in, it makes a drastic change. If you put a heavy driver in the car, the car might be sitting there low, real low in the back. So then you're going to have to in turn adjust your setup block. You might have to go from a 4-inch block to say a 3.5 in the back. And the reason for that is to try and get the same effect as you would if the driver weighed 180 pounds, for example. So I really don't know what the magic number is there as far as the weight versus the block height, but I do know that it does make a difference both directions. So I know there's some guys that are really light that they can lower the car down all in the blocks because the driver gets in, the car doesn't move hardly at all. So that's the rundown on the setup blocks. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, comment below if you got any comments, questions at all. There's a good possibility there'll probably be another setup block video coming because it's kind of endless stuff here. But that's what I got for you today. Appreciate you tuning in. See you next time.